Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're zeroing in on something pretty specific. Revenue management, but tailored for hotels in Thailand.
Right.
We've got this detailed guide, and, well, the idea is to pull out the really useful stuff, the insights that, help you understand how Thai hotels can really optimize things without getting totally bogged down.
Absolutely. And this guide, it's interesting because it really focuses on what makes Thai tourism, well, Thai. It's not just generic advice. It gets into the specific rhythms, the nuances of that market.
Okay, so let's start there. Revenue management for a Thai hotel. What does that actually mean in practice? It's got to be more than just like setting room rates and hoping.
Oh, definitely. You've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, the basic idea is the same everywhere: right room, right guest, right time, right price. But applying it in Thailand, that's critical. The tourism scene is just so lively, but also very fluid. You've got all sorts of different travelers booking in different ways. And the competition, well, it's intense, especially in the hotspots.
So if a hotel there isn't really doing this strategically, what kind of downsides might they run into?
Well, they could easily end up underpricing when demand is super high. Peak season hits and they're just leaving money on the table.
Right.
Or the flip side, they might overprice when things are slow in the low season and just end up with empty rooms, missing chances to get some business, even if it's at a lower rate. It's a real balancing act.
And I bet there are some, let's say, common misconceptions floating around about how to manage this. The guide mentions a few, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. There's that old idea that just having the lowest price automatically gets you the most bookings. Or, smaller places thinking, oh, we can't possibly compete with the big brands on pricing. Some might even think, revenue management, that's just for huge hotels. Or that, adjusting prices once in a while is basically enough.
But the reality is, well, a bit more complex than that, isn't it?
Absolutely. Proper revenue management today, particularly somewhere like Thailand, it's all about using data, understanding trends, being proactive. It's strategic, not just knee-jerk discounting.
So for a hotelier in Thailand who really gets this, who puts effective strategies in place, what are the actual tangible benefits?
Ooh, the impact can be huge. We're talking, real increases in overall revenue, better occupancy rates, fewer empty rooms, and ultimately just a stronger, more solid position in that very competitive Thai market.
Okay. Now, the guide really hammers home this idea of understanding the rhythms of Thai tourism. What does that mean? Why is it so fundamental?
Understanding those rhythms is, well, it's everything. It lets hotels line up their pricing, their operations, with how tourists actually flow through the country. Thailand has these really distinct high, shoulder, and low seasons, and each one brings different kinds of travelers, different behaviors.
Let's break that down. The high season, what's that like? Who's traveling then?
Okay, so high season is usually November through February. The weather's cooler, drier. Perfect, really. That's a huge draw for international tourists, especially from Europe, North America, East Asia, people escaping winter.
Makes sense.
And demand just peaks in places like Bangkok, Phuket, Chiang Mai, Krabi. So the smart move for hotels is to increase rates, but strategically, looking at how far out people are booking, what their occupancy already looks like, maybe, tiered pricing reward early bookers, but capture higher rates later if demand's strong.
And then things shift. What happens in the shoulder season?
Right. Shoulder season, that's generally March to May. It gets hotter, so you might see a little dip in international folks. But this is when domestic travel really picks up. You've got school holidays, Songkran.
Songkran. Big one.
Huge. So it's a great time for hotels to target Thai families, regional travelers. Think special family deals, Songkran packages, that kind of thing.
And then comes the low season. What's the picture then?
Low season, June to October, that's monsoon time, especially down south. So yeah, some traditional markets might drop off, but you have to remember others see opportunity. Budget travelers, digital nomads settling in for a while, long stay folks.
Interesting. So it doesn't just die off.
Not at all. Rates usually do drop, sure. But hotels can keep revenue coming in with value-added packages, maybe include spa credits, cooking classes, free transfers,
Yeah.
We're even seeing more long-stay guests grabbing those lower rates for a more local vibe.
Beyond the seasons, Thailand's famous for festivals, events. How do they shake things up for hotels?
Oh, massively. Hotels absolutely have to factor these in. New Year, both international and Thai, huge spike in cities and beaches. Chinese New Year brings in tons of East Asian travelers. Songkran, like we said, drives incredible domestic and regional demand. Loi Krathong, bookings jump, especially in Chiang Mai for the lanterns. Then you have royal events, long weekends. They all give little boosts here and there. Hotels that plan pricing around these, they really benefit.
Wow, yeah. Managing that calendar seems vital. The guide also talks about different tourist segments. Who are the main groups hotels need to understand?
Okay, yeah. You've got your international tourists. They often book way ahead, maybe through OTAs, travel agents. Exchange rates can matter a lot to them. Westerners might stay longer. East Asian groups often look for value. ASEAN visitors take shorter trips.
Right.
Then there's the domestic market. Big and growing. They travel on holidays, long weekends, generally more price sensitive maybe, but exploring more thanks to TAT campaigns, Tourism Authority of Thailand. And finally, don't forget the digital nomads, the long stay crowd, Chiang Mai, Bangkok, the islands. They love monthly rates, good Wi-Fi, great for filling rooms in the low season.
And where are all these people actually booking? What are the key channels?
It's pretty mixed. OTAs, online travel agencies, are huge. Think Agoda, Booking.com, Expedia, very popular internationally and domestically. Direct bookings, though, are really important, too, through the hotel's own website, often driven by loyalty perks. Social media is good in Thailand, especially Line. Lots of smaller places take bookings that way. And yeah, walk-ins still happen, especially in certain areas.
So how does a hotel take all this info seasons, festivals, traveler types, where they book and actually use it in their revenue strategy?
It's about weaving it all together. So maybe implement calendar-based pricing that automatically adjusts for peaks and events. Definitely increase rates strategically during those high-demand times. Offer flexible price tiers, reward the planners, capture the last-minute folks, create really targeted promotions for shoulder and low seasons, like rainy season retreats for locals or long-stay deals for nomads. And optimize how you show up on different channels. Maybe push visual stuff and line deals for Thais while making sure your OTA listings are perfect for internationals. It's about being smart with where you put your effort.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. The guide talks about the power of dynamic pricing. What exactly is that, and why is it so crucial for Thailand with all these ups and downs?
Dynamic pricing, yeah. Basically, it means adjusting your room rates in real time, not just setting them and forgetting them. You adjust based on demand, what your competitors are doing, booking patterns, the season, even like the weather forecast sometimes.
Really? Weather too?
Can be a factor, especially with beach destinations. But the point is, in a market as, well, dynamic as Thailand's tourism, that flexibility isn't just nice to have. It's often the key to actually maximizing your revenue and filling your rooms.
So instead of fixed rates for months, you're constantly tweaking.
Precisely. It comes down to basic supply and demand, really. Demand's high. Festival time, peak season. You can push rates up because more people want fewer rooms. Demand's lower. You might ease rates down or maybe throw in some extras to attract bookings and keep occupancy decent. It stops you leaving cash on the table in the good times and helps keep some revenue flowing when it's quiet.
What are some specific dynamic pricing strategies that Thai hotels might use?
Well, the guide mentions a few key types. There's time-based pricing, think day of the week, weekends usually higher, right? Or how far out someone books the season. You might nudge rates up closer to arrival if bookings are strong. Demand-based pricing, that's watching your historical data, current bookings, local events, and adjusting based on that predicted demand. Competitor-based, keeping an eye on similar hotels nearby, maybe on the OTAs, and pricing slightly better, or just holding your position based on your brand. Then you've got customer segmentation, different rates for corporate clients maybe, or those long-stay guests we mentioned, and value-added pricing. This is smart. Instead of just slashing rates and slow times, you add perks. Free breakfast, airport transfer, spa credit. Makes the offer more attractive without cheapening the room itself.
That sounds like a lot to juggle. What tools do hotels need to manage this effectively?
Yeah, it can get complex. While small places might start manually, technology really helps. A good property management system, a PMS, that's your central hub for reservations. A channel manager is vital. It automatically updates your rates and availability everywhere, all the OTAs, your own site, saves tons of time, prevents errors.
Oh, okay.
Then there's revenue management software and RMS that's more advanced, uses algorithms to analyze everything, forecast demand, suggest the optimal price, often pulls in competitor data, event info too. And rate shopping tools let you see exactly what your competitors are charging right now. Think of the RMS as the brain, the channel manager as the arms making it happen everywhere.
So if a hotel gets these tools, how do they actually set up a dynamic pricing calendar? What's the process?
The guide lays out a pretty clear path. First step, build a 12-month calendar, mark everything, holidays, school breaks, festivals, your high shoulder, low seasons, get it all down.
Okay.
Second, set your base rates for each season, your starting point. The guide even gives an example for like a 3-star in Phuket. Then third, start applying those dynamic adjustments. Watch your booking case. Are bookings flying in faster than usual? Maybe bump rates up, plan promotions for slow patches, set minimum stays for super high demand periods. It becomes this living thing you constantly tweak.
Are there common mistakes hotels make
Yeah.
when they start doing this?
No.
Things to watch out for?
Oh, definitely. Getting sucked into price wars is a big one. Just constantly trying to undercut the hotel next door. It kills profits for everyone and can hurt your brand.
Yeah, I can see that.
Being too rigid is another mistake, not being able to react quickly to capitalize on a sudden surge in demand. Also, focusing only on OTAs and forgetting your direct bookings. Those OTA commissions eat into your margins. And not paying attention to cancellation patterns. That can mess up your availability and revenue if you're not careful. It's about being strategic, not just reactive.
The guide has a case study, a boutique hotel in Chiang Mai. What did they do, and how did it work out?
Yeah, this was a small 20-room place. They used rate shopping tools, a basic PMS. They pushed rates up during Chiang Mai's big festivals, offered good long-stay deals in the low season, and smartly raised last-minute rates if they hit over 80% occupancy.
And the result?
Pretty good. An 18% jump in their average daily rate year on year. Occupancy was more stable in the off-season. And their direct bookings went up 25%, partly because they could offer slightly better value direct sometimes.
That really shows the potential. Any practical tips from the guide for Thai hoteliers just starting out with this?
Yeah, several good ones. Use local platforms like Line or Facebook for flash sales when things are slow. Partner with local event organizers to get advance warning of demand spikes. Offer loyalty rates for repeat Thai or ASEAN guests.
Good idea.
Keep an eye on visa rule changes, new flight routes, things that affect tourism flows. And, really important, make sure your front desk team understands why prices change so they can explain it confidently to guests. That helps the guest experience too.
Okay, let's talk forecasting. Predicting demand seems absolutely essential for setting those dynamic rates confidently. How does the guide frame this?
Right, forecasting. The guide calls it a blend of art and science, which I think is accurate. It's partly analyzing historical data, what happens last year, the year before. But it's also looking forward, what events are coming up, what are bookings looking like right now. You use all that to set optimal rates before things happen, not just reacting. Tools like rate shopping definitely help with the forward-looking part.
Why is good forecasting so important, especially maybe for independent hotels in Thailand without huge resources?
Oh, for independents, it's a game changer. It helps them avoid underpricing. When demand is strong, stops leaving money on the table. It helps them identify times they can and should raise rates. It reduces reliance on those last-minute, high-commission OTA bookings. It also helps with planning operations, staffing, supplies, and ultimately it leads to a better guest experience because you're prepared. It gives them more control, really.
What are the main ways hotels can forecast? What kinds of forecasting are there?
The guide mentions two main types. There's looking back historical data forecasting, analyzing past occupancy, booking patterns, lead times for different seasons or events, comparing this Songkran to last Songkran, for example, useful if market conditions are fairly stable.
Okay.
Then there's forward-looking forecasting. That's about current signals. What reservations are already on the books? How much traffic is hitting your website? What are competitors doing with their pricing right now? Airline bookings for your area, upcoming concerts or conferences. It's more about real-time indicators.
What key numbers, metrics should hotels be tracking or forecasting?
Several key ones. Occupancy rate, obviously what percentage of rooms are full. Average daily rate, or ADR, the average price paid per room sold. That tells you about your pricing power. RevPAR, revenue per available room. That combines occupancy and ADR, gives a really good overall picture of revenue performance. Pickup report, how many new bookings came in today or this week. shows momentum. And booking window, how far in advance do people typically book? If your usual weekend window is 14 days and you have hardly any bookings 10 days out, maybe it's time for a promotion.
What about tools? If a hotel doesn't have a fancy RMS, are there simpler ways to forecast?
Absolutely. Even basic spreadsheets like Excel can track metrics and show trends over time. Most modern PMS and channel managers have reporting features you can use.
Okay.
Even the dashboards on OTAs like Booking.com or Agoda often show year-over-year comparisons, lead time info, and just keeping track of local events, tourism board stats. That's all valuable intel you can get without spending big money.
Can you walk us through the step-by-step process the guide suggests for forecasting and setting rates?
Sure. It starts with digging into your history. Look back 2-3 years if you can. Find those patterns around holidays, seasons, festivals. Then identify what really drives demand for you. Is it events, new flights, marketing campaigns? Next, build that forecast calendar for the next 12 months. Predict occupancy, predict ADR, mark the expected busy times, the slow times. Highlight those potential compression nights where demand will be super high.
Right.
Based on that forecast, you build your pricing strategies, set base rates, price ceilings, and floors, plan promotions for the dips, maybe minimum stays for the peaks, and crucially monitor it constantly, weekly checks at least. Be ready to adjust if reality doesn't match the forecast. It's not set and forget.
There's another case study, right? A boutique hotel in Hua Hin this time. What did they do?
Yeah, a small 15-room place. They kept it pretty simple, tracked weekly bookings in Excel, used Google Trends for destination interest, kept up with local events. They saw bookings consistently picked up about 10 days before holidays.
Oh, okay.
So they started raising rates by about 20% in that specific 10-day window. And the result, a 27% jump in RevPAR within a year. Plus, they felt more prepared operationally, and the owner just felt more confident about their pricing.
What are some common problems hotels run into with forecasting?
Well, not enough historical data is a big one for new hotels. The answer there is start tracking now and use market data if you can get it. Unforeseen events, pandemics, political shifts can throw any forecast off, so flexibility is key.
Sure.
Sometimes OTAs pressure you to lower rates, but having your own forecast helps you stand firm or focus on value instead of just price. And sudden demand surges can catch you short-staffed, so using forecasts for rostering helps.
Any specific tips for the smaller, independent Thai hotels with maybe limited resources for forecasting?
Yeah, the guide suggests tapping into local networks, like join hotelier groups online or Facebook. You hear about local events, get a feel for sentiment, hold quick weekly team meetings, just review the booking pace, any spikes.
Good idea.
Pay attention to school holidays, not just Thai ones, but maybe ASEAN ones too, for family travel. And connect with the local TAT office. They often have insights on regional trends or campaigns. It's about using what's available.
Okay, let's move to distribution channels. The guide stresses how managing these well is key for profit, especially for independents in Thailand. What channels are we talking about?
Right, distribution. So you've got direct bookings, website, phone, walk-ins, then the big OTAs, Booking.com, Agoda, Expedia, Traveloka is popular regionally too. GDS, global distribution systems, mostly for corporate travel agents. Wholesalers and traditional agents still exist, especially for certain international groups. And then social media, Facebook, Line, increasingly used for direct bookings in Thailand, particularly by smaller places.
Why is having a good mix of these channels so important? Why not just rely on, say, Agoda?
Relying too much on one channel, especially in OTA, is risky. Those commissions can really bite into your profit. A good mix spreads the risk, makes you visible to more types of guests, gives you more control over your rates and inventory. It reduces dependency, and crucially, helps you grow your direct bookings, which are almost always the most profitable. The guide mentioned the Chiang Mai hotel that boosted net profit just by shifting the balance more towards direct.
OTAs are dominant, though. How can Thai hotels succeed on platforms like Agoda or Booking.com without giving away too much profit?
Success on OTAs starts with a great listing. Amazing photos, compelling descriptions, highlight your amenities, be super responsive to questions and reviews. That builds trust.
Okay.
Then you've got to manage your rates actively. Dynamic pricing is key here too. Don't just set static rates. Use the promotional tools, but strategically only when it makes sense for your revenue goals. And track your ROI, which OTAs are actually delivering value for the commission you pay. Focus there.
And direct booking's the most profitable channel. What can hotels do to get more guests booking directly?
A lot, actually. First, a great website. Easy to use, looks good on mobile, has a simple, secure booking engine. That's table stakes now. Then, offer perks for booking direct. Free breakfast, maybe early check-in, late checkout, a small discount, something the OTAs don't get. Use Google Hotel Ads, meta search, so you show up alongside the OTAs when people search.
Ah, compete directly.
Exactly. Build loyalty, offer special rates for repeat guests if they book direct. Engage on social media line, Facebook, Instagram are huge in Thailand, make it easy to book from there. And capture emails, WhatsApp contacts during the stay for future marketing. The guide had that Hua Hin example, free Thai massage for direct bookers, saw a 22% jump in direct.
Managing rates and availability across all these channels sounds like a headache waiting to happen. How does tech help?
That's where a channel manager is absolutely essential. It's software that syncs everything automatically. You change a rate or block a room in your system, it updates instantly across all your OTAs and your website.
Ah, okay, so no manual updates everywhere.
Exactly. It drastically cuts down errors, prevents those dreaded overbookings where two people book the last room, and lets you manage dynamic pricing across all channels in real time. Huge time saver, reduces stress. There are several popular ones in Thailand: SiteMinder, Cloudbeds, Storage, Traveline.
What about rate parity? That used to be a big deal. Where does that stand now, and how should hotels approach it?
Yeah, strict rate parity rules enforced by OTAs are less common now in many places, but maintaining consistent perception of your rates is still generally a good idea.
Okay.
You might aim for near parity, same base rate everywhere. Or you might differentiate slightly, offering that little bit extra value or a slightly better rate direct as an incentive. The key is to monitor your rates everywhere using tools, make sure there aren't big confusing differences, and be aware of any specific OTA agreements you still have. Consistency is good.
So if a hotel wants to build a really effective distribution strategy, where do they start? What are the first steps?
The guide suggests a logical process. First, audit your current channels. Where do bookings come from now? What's the cost per booking for each channel? Commissions, etc. Which channels bring your best guests?
Right. Know your numbers.
Then segment your market. Who are you trying to reach? Domestic, international, business, leisure. Book early, book late. Based on that, choose your core channels, probably your direct site, plus 2 or 3 key OTAs that reach your target audience. Maybe add secondary channels for specific niches.
Okay.
Set targets for OTA commissions, maybe aim to keep total distribution costs under 20%. And then monitor and adjust. Review it quarterly. See what's working, what's not. Shift your focus to the channels giving you the best return. That Phuket resort example in the guide. They cut OTA reliance from 90% down to 55% by focusing on direct boosted profit and guest satisfaction.
We've talked a lot about room revenue, but the guide also touches on unlocking revenue beyond the room. What are some key ways Thai hotels could boost income from other services?
Absolutely crucial point. Don't just focus on the room. Hotels need to actively promote and price strategically for their spa, their restaurants and bars, any tours or activities they offer, maybe even event spaces. Upselling and cross-selling are key here. Offer room upgrades at check-in, or maybe promote a dinner special via a pre-arrival email. Create attractive packages like a wellness weekend bundling the room, spa treatments, healthy meals.
Makes sense.
And use the data. Look at your point-of-sale data from the restaurant or spa, what's popular, when. Use that to inform pricing and promotions for those areas, too. It all adds up to the bottom line.
Okay, so bringing this all together, if you had to pick the most critical takeaways from this deep dive on revenue management for Thai hotels, what would they be?
I'd say the absolute core message is success in Thai hotel revenue management hinges on really truly understanding the local tourism scene, its unique rhythms and segments. You have to embrace dynamic pricing. You can't just set and forget. And you need a smart, strategic approach to managing all your distribution channels to maximize profit while also building direct relationships with guests.
And for you, our listener, the learner, we really hope this discussion has given you some solid insights into these strategies, especially how they play out in the unique, fascinating context of Thailand's hotel sector.
Indeed. That blend of amazing culture and super dynamic tourism in Thailand, it creates real challenges, sure, but also massive opportunities for hotels that get their revenue management right. It definitely makes you wonder what other regional tourism markets have unique quirks that could really benefit from this kind of tailored deep dive approach to management.